we are looking at Kogi Ivo and Bayelsa election. That is another story. That's a story for another day entirely. I'm telling you. I don't want to go into that because I have my own personal experience as well. But I'm not talking about that now. All right, Barrister Jola, you're saying something before
what
the
I was
light
trying
and
to
camera
say
went
is
off.
like, let's take for example that Ajero is the president of NLC and also more or less like one of the board of directors. One of the board of trustees of Labour Party. That is the way it is. So the interest cannot be divested. It can't. But at the same time, the reason why he went to Imo State was not for politics. Anything can be deduced from the actions, but it wasn't for politics. It was the governor himself that turned it around by actions and inaction that makes it look like he came for politics because it is closer to the election period, as you have said. And there is nothing wrong in me hearing you that you have something to collect from my friend, and I know you are owing me. If I go to that my friend's place at that time, I ask you, Madam, please can I have that thing? Because I know my friend will give you. The masses are the people that the Labour Party the Labour Union represent, which are civil services, civil servants or whatever they call them. So for me, I believe very well that I did not went there to go and campaign. There has never been any video till today to show where they were campaigning, and that was where he was picked up or he was brutalized.
Sir,
yeah.
Sir, honestly speaking, if I would say anything, I would say to be sincere that movement by Joe Ajero was politically motivated, because everything that downplayed Imo State is not even the worst state right now in Nigeria.
Should we wait until this?
No, I'm actually going somewhere.
That's what I said. I think he did the right thing at the wrong time.
There are other states that Ajero would
timing.
have taken on their governors, and yet will get results.
How?
Now that he shut down the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport.
Okay, are you talking about the action they took after he was brutalized?
All of their actions.
All the actions before he was brutalized and after he was brutalized.
Election was like less than 2 weeks in Imo State. So he knows.
Are you conversant with the histories of Nigerian election? In Osun State, in the second term of Aregbesola, a week to election, the civil servant hold him to Jogula because they have not received their salary.
Because they
are the civil servant.
I'm talking about the second term.
I was in Osun State that time,
and I'm talking about second term, not when he was
not
leaving.
the first time.
Yes, okay.
Not
Eventually, he ended up Aregbesola's tenure, both tenure. It was caught.
I can tell you with all emphasis, quote me anywhere. He went to go and get money, 70-something billion naira, to pay the staffers.
Okay.
Because that somebody that has been coming in the last 3 years and a half, and he's owing salary.
Was the NLC chairman or president there? The movement.
It was not in the movement. That's
which one?
The NLC
president.
That's why I said go back to memory lane. Waba was the president at that point in time. He was there.
Okay.
He was there.
All right, Barrister Dola. I would like Barrister Tanko to react on this list.
Well, thank you very much, Theresa. I don't have issues with the timing that happened. There was no schedule.
Remember, they are baristas.
There was no schedule. Yeah.
Don't forget that.
We're talking.
Don't forget that.
Yeah,
it's 2 of us against them.
actions here or anywhere would, at the end of the day, be judged by legal standards. When it comes to the public purview as to the rightness or wrongness of that action, and especially where somebody had been, assaulted, brutally assaulted, because of whatever actions is taken, So I'm looking at it strictly from that perspective, because it is said, and it is true, that even, the devil does not know the heart of a man. Okay, only God does. And so if you want to read meanings as we're trying to do or permutate and think, well, he did this because of this, it will be sheer suspicion and presumption. And there's no basis, there are no facts for which you can say this is exactly why he did this. But the point is, what the person was doing at the time, was it consistent or within the confines of the purview of his office, or what he's known to do or supposed to be doing? That is how to be looked at, because right now it is not a matter of sentiment. Saying that okay, he went too close to the election, it was politically motivated, is all sentiment. So you want to look at it from, I said, rightly, from a proper perspective. It is that, okay, who is he? He's NLC president. What did he go there for? It was a labor-related issue, all right? And even if he went out of his confine to do something, what is the rightful treatment that was supposed to be meted out on him? Arresting him would be appropriate if he was behaving disorderly, he and his people. It is given to labor to demonstrate or engage in demonstrations, and any other person can actually do that, so long as violence doesn't ensue, so long as people don't hijack the process and there's violence and theft and all manner of illegalities. If you can do that, you're not committing any offense. Freedom of association and of assembly. That's one thing in this country where so often the police come in and infringe on the rights of citizens. The Constitution ensures and guarantees freedom of assembly of Nigerians. But in so doing, all you have to do is ensure that you don't portend a breach of the peace or not even allow it to occasion. So in this case, I have not heard until I hear that indeed, while he and his men were there, cars were smashed, people, pockets were picked, people were assaulted, and if that didn't happen, there was no basis to have used the police or any other security organization, however, to brutalize. It's even another thing. You could arrest him, and then we can only challenge the legality of the arrest. But this was not even an arrest. It was outright brigandage. Outright lawlessness, recklessness. They went out of their way to brutalize him. The governor apologized yesterday or thereabout. Yeah, so it's because, of course, he too probably has come to terms with the fact that what you did was outside, or what you and your people and whoever is working or was working with you did was outside the purview of the law. Because it is, the elections are going on today, and it was very close to the elections. Oh, they've sent him, they've come here, he's of Labour and he's of that. Yes, like my brother said, Labour is linked, it's part and parcel of the Labour Party. Now, they did not go on a campaign, they did not go with placards reading vote so person, for governor or for that. That didn't happen. And so we should have to exercise restraint for those who hold the reins of government and and coercion, to act within the purview of the law. If they have picked him up and say the action of you and your men is disorderly and is causing, put him away, his lawyers will go there and ask questions, and then he's released. If he's not happy, he's not pleased with his detention, he goes to court, filed to enforce his fundamental rights, and there will be no issue, there will be no problem. Nobody, even if you're chief of staff, IG, commander-in-chief of DSS or whatever, there's so much recklessness, illegality, and that goes on in Nigeria. The brutalization and arrest and shootings that happen are extrajudicial. We cannot continue like that as a people, working sentimentally and taking laws into our hands.
Thank you, Barrister. I'm glad that even on this seat, we already know, okay, this is where you stand, and it's very interesting because different people are seeing us from different locations, and they are standing in different places. But when Barrister mentioned Weber during the second time of Aregbe, labor force was not this strong. Now, Labour is becoming the second force in Nigeria with the level of how, they came out in the last election. And if you are trying to justify the movement of Joe Ajero, the NLC is the biggest pressure group in Nigeria as far as I'm concerned, and they interfere government decision without any necessary entrance. But at this junction, there has been cases of insecurity in Imo State, and that is why they have been continuously changing and bringing commissioner of police, this and that, the unknown gunmen. So coming towards close to the election and trying to start a protest to mobilize the people, that movement was already seen that the movement was against the governor seeking a second time re-election. and he will not even sit down, fold his hands, and let you come and direct his reputation on where he's still trying to, like, okay, we all know there is no politician in Nigeria with a good reputation.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to. If you say that you are advocating for lawlessness, that's what it is.
No. I'm going somewhere. I've not landed.
I'm observing you because, of course, we're on TV and people would hear this. You understand? And I cannot but talk as a lawyer, and I say why. Apart from being a commentator about what's happening, I'm talking as a lawyer. It's not done. It's not allowed. It's not legal.
You've not allowed me landed where I'm going.
I'm observing. That's what I'm saying. I say what you're saying means that the governor cannot fold his arms. Who is the governor? The governor is nobody.
The governor is the number one citizen of the state.
I know better. He's the chief security officer of the state. Legally speaking, I don't know if you know that, but of course, if you're chief security officer of the state, what is the purview of your power? When I say governor is nobody by share being governor, the fact that you're governor or president doesn't mean you point at Destiny Tack when he was on TV talking, go and break his head. He was talking.
Of course, that will happen.
That is exactly what happened in Imo State. Because you said the governor should not have folded his arms. We said clearly, and I'm sure the viewers are listening to us, that unless they are constituted themselves in such a manner that offends, impinges on the law, against the law, you don't have any right, no matter what you think you are, whether you're president, IG. I said that.
No, he said he was arrested. The police had their reports with immediate effect. That he wasn't arrested, he was rescued.
Close to the election, how do you rescue me and then break my head in the process and say you rescued me? And I'm the one complaining. I should be thanking you.
Wasn't the police who punched him on his face?
He said it was the police. It was the police who arrested him, and the thugs that came along with that. Also,
but we do not have any proof to that because already the movement already showed they are anti-governor or government of Imo State.
Clearly, what I'm saying
is that has always been
what I'm saying is that it is not allowed, irrespective of the office you hold, to arrogate power or the prerogative to yourself to say, because I'm angry with this fellow or what he's doing is not right, that I would get him arrested because I can talk to the commissioner of police or ask the head of my thugs, they all have them, to go and break his head.
That's what I'm saying. We do not have the evidence that the governor directed that movement.
Yes. The purview of the law. That's what we're saying.
But sir, there is no evidence.
You sounded like the governor was the person who directed them straight to that.
Nigeria allege. I wasn't there. You were not there.
Yes, he alleged because anybody can say that. Anybody can feel like, oh, it's the governor's boy. Sarah actually petitioned both President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and
because it happened in the state.
Oh, simply because it happened in the state.
Because it happened in the state and he's the number one citizen of that state.
Oh, it's okay. It's very effective. Okay, because he's the chief security officer of the state, and there was a breach, and so he couldn't protect him. So he apologized for failing to protect him. Oh, that's good for a start.
And then he wanted a re-election for anarchy to continue in the state.
No. I think yes, I agree when you say you are talking as a lawyer. I agree when you said you are talking as a lawyer. But I just want us to understand that on this table there is no judge. Yeah, we are just trying. We are just trying.
The governor's words against Ajaero words.
Because if Ajaero will actually really fight for the welfare of the people, there should be protest. There should be protest.
And if the governor is alleging that he does not know anything about the beating,
Tessie, if Ajaero,
why did he apologize? Was it because
he failed to protect
him? I think when you are talking about this apology now, you should understand that politicians sometimes can come and be very, very tricky. Because he knows election is today.
Okay.
And it's not a big deal in Nigeria election when politicians come out to do like that. They just make you. The apology looks like an emotional manipulation to me.
Okay.
It's so and as a human being, no. I said emotional manipulation. Yes, I know what I'm saying. He might have actually felt okay.
Want to manipulate.
That was how Maribosha was manipulated by the labor, to pay them how much, 70-something billion at the time. Salary that labor did at the time, because they know that, like you said, in your own language, politicians can be tricky.
Using your statement.
And that being tricky is part of like they can hit you on the head, and you're from this side, as it were, hit the other ear, and while sitting here, and turn around and tell you, sorry, I don't know what happened to you. You know, so what happened in Oshun at the time was that they had to act at that time as close as the election.
I was in Oshun at that time, and I was working.
I listened very well. And then you said, you see, he had to pay them the money because he wanted re-election. If they didn't hold him at that time, if they didn't take those steps at that time,
yeah,
he would still be owing that money.
In
and
fact,
he
was owing to the left office. And Boyega Oyetola, there were issues between Jonathan's administration and then the Aregbe administration when the state allocations were cut short, and that was how
it was not only Aregbe's money or some states. Whatever allocation that was cut short. Listen, it was because the coming in, the intakes of the federal government at that point in time beginning to dwindle. So it is what they that comes into the federation account that they are sharing.
Exactly.
So if you go through your Google, it will tells you that it is not only Aregbe Shola's money that was cut short.
It was all states in Nigeria. Yes, I know.
Therefore, every state, Osun State is a civil servant.
Don't forget that Osun State had a big loan at that time too.
No, just hold on. Osun State is what we call a civil servant state. It's an agrarian state.
Yes.
The bulk of the money that they collected go to the civil servant salary.
Yes, that's right.
But at that point in time, you talk about loan. Loan is a schedule kind of advance payment or advance what have you. It doesn't have anything to do with
at that time they had, whenever the allocation is coming, they had certain amount of money going for the money they borrowed.
But that would not mean that you don't prioritize where the money is coming from. Don't forget that.
At that time, it was not like Aregbe was not paying. He was paying half salary.
He was not. At that point in time, that was what bring about Afusa. That they call it Afusa. It was because he was owing like about maybe 6 or 7 months, not half salary. He was owing like
that half salary cost Afusa.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. He was owing like about 7 months at that point in time.
Before they agreed to start paying half salary.
Yes, before they now say, look, Oga, you can't go for second time unless you pay our money. Exactly. And the only understanding language of the labor is to go on strike.
That's why I said the inter-government decision without any necessary.
Yes, because it is their right. The constitutions of the Labor Act guarantee them that
to protest,
to go on strike after certain giving notice. This notice has been given. But maybe Aregbe thought at that point in time he can railroad himself. Once the election comes, then he can. No, the people see through it, and that was exactly what happened in this case. Because as they go into election today, except if you have the soothsayer that tells you that this man is going to win this election, this other man is going to win, we don't know who is going to win.
There should not be any statement of such and say somebody is good.
So because the uncertainty of who is going to win will make Labour to say, look, this is our time. Please let us ask this man what he has been doing. If you should have had that information, how much was this man owing a salary? Should have had that understanding that if you and I work in that state and we don't get salary, and you are hearing the same man allocating certain amount for election this, election that, election that, election that, you will also want to ask Oga, where is my own?
Okay, now away from all that we've been talking about, let's focus now on Kogi bias and Imo. We have a reporter that will be calling in live from Kogi State very soon. But I want to quickly ask this question before we pull this call through. The people does not have hope in the judiciary again. They don't have hope in the system. Not the people. Some. I'm not going to say all the people, especially those who are aggrieved because they believe their mandate has been stolen. So now, this is another time for INEC to prove themselves. Do you believe that this election is going to be free, fair, and credible?
Firstly, I do.
That side. I don't know why the both of you side.
I'll be speaking for myself as a Nigerian.
Okay.
And of course, I'm giving my opinion. Given what has happened repeatedly under the reigns, the two-term reign of Professor Mahmoud Yakubu as the chairman of INEC, the inconsistencies, the avalanche of inconsistencies, even in the past, inconclusive elections everywhere. You have a situation where what happens in Kogi, when it happens in Osun, the standards change. The election is conducted in Kogi State, and we had 10 polling units left, and it said that election was conclusive. It happens in Osun with only 5 left, and it says inconclusive. And then you mobilize the whole of Nigerian army and the police, and to ensure that a certain party of interest wins the election. Now, that's far off, but coming to 2023, the worst ever, as far as I am concerned. The things that have happened, I do not, as a Nigerian, have confidence, howsoever, on leadership of INEC under Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, and I fear for what the outcome of the elections in these 3 states would be. There's a tendency we've seen from the past in elections. Of course, you've seen that whether it's the Supreme Court that declares the person governor or what, as in Imo State, and partly also Bayelsa, I think they have a common feature there, where a person was supposed to be sworn in, and the day before, his deputy was disqualified, and he in turn was not sworn in, and somebody else was declared and asked to be sworn in. And then Imo State, very controversially, Ozodima was declared and asked to be sworn in, and was sworn in. So in all of this, my fear with INEC is, with all that we've seen in the past, and like I said, right up to 2023, I fear very seriously. The worst, as far as I'm concerned, was the presidential election, or the National Assembly's presidential election that happened the same day and at the same time. We have a tendency, as I said, where you have where there's preponderance of National Assembly members and House of Assembly members belonging to a certain party. It's thought that because of how our people are, the electorates themselves, they are very easily swayed. Why? Because of the prevalence of hunger and poverty, amongst the populace. That these supposed honorables, as they are called all over the country, would do the usual thing, go meet them before the election, give them rice, pepper, salt, Maggi. In Nigeria, when we say Maggi, what it means? All seasonings are Maggi.
The sauce.
And all of that, yes. Give all of those stuff to them and ensure that their parties are voted. Well, if that happens peacefully, and Nigerians allow themselves again, in spite of how much is suffering, to be swayed and vote their party, all well and good. But the question to ask is, at the end of the day, is the result of election going to reflect what the people actually voted? That is the main problem. It's our bane. We have the Electoral Act, amended, has authorized electronic transmission of votes. Now, one of the simplest way to prove that there was, foul play in an election is if the elections are, conducted, and as the Act prescribes, the results are declared at the polling booths, polling units, and each party agent is given a copy of that result from each polling unit. All over the country, the 180,000 or so polling units, it becomes very easily to show or to tell semantics and technicalities apart to say this was the actual vote cast. That is what the people voted. So the problem with INEC is, and even things that happened in 2023 and the rulings that have come from different courts, if we had centered strictly on what the collated result by each party or any aggrieved party from the polling units, as was handed over by INEC staff, and each polling unit was given to the agent and collated, the outcomes would have been different. So, but like I said, would INEC allow the eventual results declared to be what was cast at the polling units by the people? I have my doubts. I have my fears, given the body language, the antecedents of INEC under Mahmoud Yakubu right up to the presidential and national assembly elections.
All right, thank you very much.
It's a pity that we are still talking about whether election will be free and fair. Just like the question you first asked, and I said, okay, are we having elections? Is it a democracy? Why would the military be outside there? Why should there be fear of the unknown if it is for service? But all these things putting together will come on the table of no other person but the INEC. INEC is supposed to be an unbiased umpire. INEC is supposed not to be seen. It's supposed to be heard. And when I mean heard, just like the popular saying, actions speak louder than voices. So it's not supposed to be seen, it's supposed to be heard. But the INEC that we have, just like the day of Maurice Iwu, they are now being seen, they are being heard, and their voices are even louder than that of the contestants. We saw the moves at where do we call the courts, where INEC lawyers also defending candidates. Ordinarily, INEC supposed to defend whatever accusation the appellant or the petitioner put before and against them about election irregularity and all the rest. But when a petitioner challenged his opponent as to the propriety of whatever might have been submitted, ordinarily, the law does not give INEC the power to disqualify anybody. Whatever you presented is what is going to be what INEC will put there. It is not the job of INEC to be doing verification of. INEC is not employing you. It is the people that will employ you. You are supposed to serve the people. You are an employer of the people. Employee of the people. So it is not the business of INEC. But when you now see INEC defending and putting his own words into whatever propriety challenged by the petitioner. So what am I trying to say is that if INEC can release themselves and can restrain themselves and make themselves stay within the ambit of the law that set them up, the fifth schedule stipulate exactly what the job of an INEC is, and they do it holistically. Yes, we cannot actually say that everything is perfect, and we don't expect perfection in a system of like our own. The system does not give room for perfection. But just like we witnessed in 2015 that Jega holds sway, we can as well say that if that perfection can just be like about 60%, at most 75%, that will be very difficult for whoever that they said they lose to say, even if I go, am I not too sure? Lawyers can tell anybody that you have a good matter, you have a good case, but you yourself can easily look at it that, look, am I that popular truly? Yes.
That's a simple question.
That's it.
That's the reality check.
Am I that popular?
Yourself.
If they now say you have, it will be foolhardy for anyone to go to court after you have spent, you have scored maybe 10% of the total vote, and you say you want to go and challenge that. No, except you can see something in the area of disqualification of candidate, which was premised against whatever may be the outcome of the election. So, for me, INEC must be ready. The emphasis is INEC must be ready to be non-partisan, to be, unbiased as it were, as an unbiased umpire. But I doubt if we can witness it in this era, because where the law says that you cannot even appoint somebody that is partisan to be among the INEC official, INEC commissioner, and we are having a known member of a political party coming in as INEC commissioner, I wonder how impartial such a body will now looks like. We have witnessed it in the days of Onoche, and the people rise up and say, we know this woman is not hiding it, is not deluding herself, this is who she is, and you still want to test the will of the people, and you presented her as INEC commissioner. And luckily and goodly, to the then National Assembly, they were able to reason along the law and along the people's outcry without emotion to say, yes, truly, you cannot be INEC commissioner. And now we are now having the same thing over again. And I don't know if the impartiality of INEC can be guaranteed. But if only INEC can be painstaking, if only INEC can say, this is the job that I want to do, if only INEC can walk through to the letter and the spirit of the Electoral Act, we will have less kind of agitation, acrimony, and the behavioral patterns of our, so-called elected officials that want to come and serve. It is just a question of, is INEC unbiased, unbiased? That is where we are having problem. Kogi State, for whatever it is, people there are ready to vote. The concerns of the people in every state where election is going to take place is that they are coming just to vote. Is INEC bringing the ballot papers at when due? When you are supposed to have election between 8 and 2 o'clock, and after that 2 o'clock it's when you are saying that election paper just got there. Definitely you have already rigged the election systematically. Because you are going to leave that polling unit between 2 and the accepted time that the law permitted, which is between 8 and 2. So by the time you get between 2 o'clock to around 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock, with epileptic supplies of power and fuel increase as at today, nobody will want to supply you their generator and give you fuel free of charge or whatever it is. So at the end of the day, that election has already been rigged because they stipulate systematically or systemically. So what I am saying in essence is that all these things boil down to preparation of INEC. If logistics is becoming the INEC problem, when you have preparation since last year, and you know logistics is part of the most important thing on election day, and there is no foolproof preparation in that area, and you are not blaming your coming late to that place on logistics, then there is a failure from the beginning, and we already know what will be the end result. It is not a question of whether politicians, influence you or trying to bully you to do whatever. I'm not talking about the physical one that we have just read to say somebody has been kidnapped and all the rest. But believe me sincerely, we don't need security people in the days of election with guns. We witness this every other state. We witness it recently in Sierra Leone, as much as Sierra Leone is. We witness this in Liberia. Our people went there to go and be an observers, and we saw the way they do their thing. They went about. Some television dedicated their time into it, and they are showing us some live, effect from there. And at the end of the day, election come, and there was even a tie for what we call a rerun election in Liberia, if I'm correct. And at the end of the day, they are waiting. There was no single shot of gun in that place. Definitely people will attack it. There was violence, pocket of violence. People will attack it as human beings. But there was no record of killing, no record of maiming, no record of ballot snatching. With all the effort that INEC said they have put into electronics, what have you, people still snatch ballot paper. They still destroy ballot papers in the floor. And yet that area also still have election results. Even though the Electoral Act says that where there is a ballot snatching or there is election violence, that area must be cancelled. There are still results in that place. So, talking about if the people have confidence, it is not the people that will have confidence, it is the umpire that will bring confidence into the heart of the people. Before we came on here the second time, we were talking about electricity. And I told my friend that the major problem we have in electricity power sector today is the regulatory body. Once the regulatory body is not firm and it does not follow the rules as is stipulated, we will have problem. The people will just line up because the people believe in you at one point in time. It's just like the Ajero you are talking about. You don't know the kind of fight me and Ajero had behind the scene. When your flip-flop kind of, we want to go strike today, go to people who go and buy food at home, and at the end of the day, just 20 minutes, 20 hours before that time, you call it off, and you want the people, you want to retain the trust of the people. It doesn't work that way. That is what is happening to INEC. And on the judiciary, I just believe that we are not supposed to have judicracy. We are supposed to be having democracy. And democracy means that government of the people, by the people, and for the people. In essence, is that we are not supposed to hand any of the election results at the judiciary. The last election, 1,250 cases was in court, which summed to be 95% of the people that are elected.
Hello, good morning. Sorry, Barrister. Good morning. This is Tessie. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, this is Mr. Dobechi.
Okay, Mr. Dobechi, where are you right now? You're live on television. Welcome to the show Bumper Breakfast. Where are you right now?
Yeah, I'm in Imo State.
What polling booth, polling unit are you? Which one? Hello? Can you hear us? Hello? How is Imo State? Is it peaceful? But where you are is noisy. It's like, is there a fight? Is there a fight going on there? Everywhere is peaceful. So how is the turnout? Do people come out en masse to cast their votes?
Yeah, people are coming out.
So how do you see the situation? So, can you hear him? So people are coming out to vote, there is no problem. And what time did INEC officials, what time did they arrive at the polling unit? At the polling booths? What time did INEC arrive at the polling booths?
Actually, I told you I'm in the meeting then, but I don't go to the place. That's why I called you. I don't go to the place, but they're around now.
Oh, did they come late?
No, they came at the right time.
They came at the right time?
Yeah.
Okay, so the situation reports of Imo State is that it's peaceful and calm. Do we have, where you are is peaceful and calm?
Yeah, it's peaceful and calm. Yes, my people are peaceful and calm, yeah.
Alright, so security people, are they on ground? Do we have enough security people on ground?
Actually, for here, we've not seen any of the security men. But
you've not seen any of the security men?
Yeah.
So which area are you? Which area are you exactly?
I'm in Owerenkalo, in Mbitoli local government.
Okay, so that place is peaceful.
Yeah, it's peaceful.
All right, thank you very much. In case you have another report, you can let us know. We'll call you back.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. We appreciate you. Yeah. So at least the first report we had now is that it's peaceful. INEC got there on time, but all the security people that has been deployed, nobody is there because no security person is visible there.
It's still part of what we are talking about. It's part of what I was trying to say, analyzing that when we leave the judiciary, because we are not supposed to have what we call judicracy. Unfortunately, as at this today, the Google will tell you, it has been reported in the newspaper, over 95% of the election conducted in 2023 was settled by court. 95%.
So we are still heading to the court for this one. Is it
definitely. See, Nigerians
until the voting is ended and the results declared, that's when grievances will arise. So we can't for the elections of today tell yet. But of course, given the disposition of Nigerians and what INEC has done in the past, that has made me and others, even on this, me and my colleague, right on this forum, to say that we don't have confidence in INEC, and a lot of Nigerians do not have confidence in INEC. If they repeat what they've done or what they did in 2023, naturally, a lot of what was going to happen today will end up before the courts, and it's quite also very saddening that. Yes, it's a constituency in a way, with both lawyers and practicing lawyers, that the what's been happening and the rulings and judgments have, with time and over time and most recently, have brought so much uncertainty that even as a lawyer, it is difficult for you to advise your client. No matter how many cases you've done in the past, how many electoral cases you've handled and succeeded, the grounds on which you succeeded in the past. We've seen that today, tomorrow after these elections, may not be the grounds that the court would agree with you and rule in your favor. That's uncertainty that has brought. That's why my colleague is talking about judicracy. that it is not elections ending the result as declared or announced by INEC, that determine who wins, but that majority of the cases now have to be determined by court, That is still okay, all right? It's consistent also with the rights of citizens to seek redress where they are aggrieved with the outcome of the results declared, outcome or results of elections. But where the problem is, as I said earlier, the seeming culture of inconsistency and lack of, at law, there's what we call a judicial precedent, where they say that if, the court has ruled, a higher court has ruled over a matter and it comes before a lower court, the lower court should follow what the higher court had ruled concerning that matter. And more so if it is the judgment of the Supreme Court. But as I said before, there's a seeming development or trend these days that it's so difficult for you to even say this is the president, or maybe for now, the president is the president until another judgment becomes the president. That's more than what we'll have to say.
Barrister, you've emphasized about 2-3 times on especially what happened in the 2023 election. And I'd like to ask you what actually happened in the 2023 election, because I know for sure in every part of the world there is never a perfect election, especially in states, countries where you practice multi-party system. There are always too many aggrieved people, and this is one of the reasons why a lot of people will approach the court. And at the other side, I've always said it, I do not feel, and I'm not comfortable yet, if you always ask the president to appoint INEC chairman. I feel like he's another government parastatus where the head or the chairman can be chosen by merit and form of examination, but it's always form of appointment. But I just want to divert to 2023 election. You have actually, emphasized like 2-3 times on it, and then you were not giving any specific statement about it. You just especially what happened in 2023 election. And I just want to ask, what happened in 2023 election?
Well, what happened in 2023 elections? In a nutshell, you have a situation where INEC lacked the will to implement the Electoral Act. And that lack of will to implement the Electoral Act, produced too many consistent results. I'll be very, very particular, for instance, about the National Assembly and presidential elections that happened the same day at the same time. Because just like the Cuban House of Assembly, you were given putting, ballot papers, 3 of them. You tick for each of them for House of Assembly, for governor, and you put in the box. Same thing with the National Assembly. So what did you have? You have a situation where we had beavers machines. The Electoral Act had authorized electronic transmission of votes, and you came out and told Nigerians this is what we will do. We're going to transmit the results.
That was Electoral Act, and then we had electoral guidelines.
Well, electoral guidelines are given.
Electoral guidelines are not sort of electoral act.
From the Electoral Act,
yes,
by the electoral body. Let me, so that's what the electoral guidelines are, okay? The Electoral Act is enabling law. It's the one that enables INEC, empowers INEC.
I know, I understand the Electoral Act.
To do what it's doing,
yes.
Right? So that's the Electoral Act.
But the guideline can actually be withdrawn back by the people who brought it. Like in 2023, at the point in time, INEC came out that some people were entering their portal, trying to hack their portal from America, at the process where people were saying, no, during the election, because we were having feedback, from different.
And if I have to take your statement without conceding, so it was only after the Supreme Court had decided to let me talk about it.
No, it's okay.
That area you are trying to go is like telling us that it is only the elections of the president.
Exactly.
The result of the election of the president
that
was subject to action. That was subject to that working.
It was the first election they had,
and that's what I'm
before they
saying.
come back.
That,
so
and that's what
if
I'm
you
saying.
were INEC chairman and you had that kind of experiences in the presidential election, and I think that was one of the reasons, you know, and by saying the Beavers were not ready for the governorship election, it was postponed because they needed to get ready for it again. So on this seat, I know you are both lawyers and I know you've handled cases.
No.
I'm just talking as a layman.
No. It's
and
not
I'm talking
a lawyer.
based,
It's not a lawyer.
And I'm talking
thing,
based on
let's
things that I read, things that I saw.
No, let's be sincere with ourselves. This is a logical
I was
thing.
saying the things that I saw that you asked me, and then you
This is
interjected.
a logical thing.
You were not comfortable. Maybe you tried to pick my brains and thought you should say something else to countermand that. You know, and that's my colleague has said exactly where I was going. That elections took place the same day. The Electoral Act has enabled you to transmit, the result electronically. You had assured Nigerians severally. You called a lot of, there were press conferences and stakeholders meetings, and you said we will transmit the elections, result electronically. That's what the Beavers are for. What are the Beavers machines? As I said earlier on, after voting, now, I've been at polling units. Even in the 2023 election, I was at polling units representing my party. You know, what do you do? When the results are counted according to how the people voted, you count this party and that, and you set them aside, you count for each party with record, ASD party 1, 2, OOO party 3, SSS party 4. Then at the end of the day, you've announced it, you write it down, and then you sign, the electoral officers sign. The party agents all sign. And there are copies given to each agent of the party to take along with him. You know, and then from that moment, what you upload to the Beavers are supposedly connected to the central collation center that should be like you see in American elections, where the result just the figures are changing, and that's how it's meant to be. If he had done what he said he was going to do. The Beavers machines, once you upload that result there, that is sent direct to the central collating system, and that is supposed to be what is now added up to be the eventual, but that Mahmoud said didn't happen properly with the National Assembly election, that's House of Reps and Senate. There was no hacking, there were no technical issues. For an election that happened the same day and at the same time at the same polling unit with the same Beavers machines in each polling unit, those ones were transmitted successfully.
Hello, good morning. Hello, Mr. Ayo, good morning. Mr. Ayo, I think the network where you are is bad. We've been trying to reach you. Good morning, this is Tessie.
Yeah,
You are live on television. Good morning, Mr. Ayo.
all right. Good morning. Good morning.
All right, Mr. Ayo, can you report your location to us, please?
Then,
Where are you right now, sir?
I'm in Kabapunu, Ijimu local government area of Kogi State, monitoring the ongoing election.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Ayo. So how is it over there? What is the situation report over there?
Well, so far, so good. The election materials got to their various polling stations on time,
Okay.
and voters are out to exercise their civic responsibility. And so far, so good. It has been very calm, very peaceful. No tension, no pressure anywhere. So far, so good. The election has become and going on well.
So how is the turnout of the voters? How is it?
Yeah, the turnout is very, very good, very encouraging. So far, it's encouraging, very encouraging for now.
So do we have security operatives on ground?
Wow. Already, so far, I can give the security operatives 98%. You will be shocked to have that rating. It has been very effective from the highways to the roads, community roads, the police units everywhere, flooded, and strictly monitored by the security operatives. They are doing incredibly well. So far, so good. At this point, I'm talking to you, the security provision is very effective and very ongoing peacefully.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ayo. We appreciate you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That's a live report from another place,
That's from
Kogi
yes.
State.
Yeah. So as I was saying, the IRF is the central collating for, each of these, whether it was state of assembly or state or national elections. Now, as I was saying just before that call came in, that report came in, so INEC is told Nigerians and expected Nigerians to believe that whatever technical issues they had, only affected the National Assembly elections. Okay. The presidential elections, and the National Assembly elections were successfully uploaded and transmitted. There's nobody you would tell that.
We don't have much time. We have to go. It's a pity. We have to go.
Barrister
Diola, thank you for coming. I appreciate you. And hopefully, Professor Mahmood and his people, they will do the right thing this time, and they will make us happy. But I know that in an election, everybody cannot be satisfied, because if you're not given the mandate, you believe your mandate have been stolen.
Well, as in research, the level of
if you have evidence,
you present it.
Okay, thank you.
Anyway, anybody that is not satisfied with the result of the election, go to court.
That's all. That's all.
And I assure you, we're going to see you on Monday morning by God's grace, mashallah, when the results are out, and we'll be able to know those who will go to court and those who will be the winner and those who will succumb to defeat. My name is Teresa Adeyemi. Thanks for joining us on this show.
Ambassador Robin Emmanuel Oluwafemi, God bless you.
Thanks for coming in a show.
Thank you, Barrister.
We gave you just a short notice and you made it. We appreciate the both of you. Thank you very much. Editor, bye-bye. See you on Monday by God's grace. Bye-bye. Thank you very much.